Foundation. Adam, walk us through this. I mean, how would cutting payroll taxes impact the economy at large? And do you think it's a good idea by the administration to weigh?
I don't think it's a good idea. To the extent that we might be edging towards recession, which I also don't think is the most likely scenario, a payroll tax cut wouldn't fix the main thing that is impeding the economic progress, which is the high tariffs and trade uncertainty. If the administration wants to boost the economy, they should start there, removing a lot of the uncertainty that they have put forward.
I love that we have so many optimists on the show because given some of the survey data that we've seen, 74% of economists, according to a recent AP poll now, say that they see recession by the end of 2021. So if the majority of these economists are believing this, and you and our previous guests as well, feel like, no, it's actually a long way off. What's your reasoning?
Well, the economy has been strong for quite some time now. The latest numbers we have, wage growth is very strong, especially for low-income workers. Unemployment remains low. Businesses continue to add jobs. The things that are slowing down are things like business investment and some of the international indicators. And I think a lot of that has policy reasons. It has to do with trade uncertainty, with high tariffs, and it's easy to reverse those if the administration wants to. So I don't think that we're falling head over heels into a recession, but I think there certainly are things out there that spell caution and say that we should tread carefully as we move forward.
Adam, as a tax policy analyst at the Heritage Foundation, are you talking to the administration about what your models show about a potential payroll tax?
Yeah, well, what we're trying to tell folks is that if we're concerned about the economy slowing down, a payroll tax is not the right policy tool right now. We should be doubling down on the things we know that work, like continued deregulation. Before we talk about new tax cuts, we should make the ones that we got in 2017 permanent, especially expensing for new business investments. This is an incentive that allows businesses to reinvest their earnings back into new investments, which ultimately help workers through higher wages. These are the types of things that I'd like to see happen first. Payroll tax cut when consumer spending is up and consumer confidence is high doesn't seem to be the right lever to pull.
I know you're in the weeds of fiscal policy here, Adam, but let's talk some monetary policy because we're going to get the minutes from the Fed later this afternoon. But a lot of people in this market watching Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech on Friday. And of course, the president has really pushed hard on Jay Powell, who he nominated to take rates lower. Now, as someone who is looking broadly at the economy, do you think lower rates would be a boon to this economy at large, to Trump's base and the rest of America?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I think the Fed has some room to adjust rates based on the economic indicators they're seeing. But I really think the president should focus on the things that he can control, the things we've been talking about: deregulation, trade. I think that the Fed should make those determinations based on the signals that they're seeing. And leave the sort of fiscal policy piece to Congress and the president.
The CBO report that came out this morning suggesting a very high percentage of our GDP in the next 10 years will be now part of the deficit. 95% of it would be. And you are, as you mentioned earlier, trying to focus on trying to extend those 2017 tax cuts, but wouldn't that just even push us more over the edge?
The deficit and the accumulating debt are certainly a problem, and they're already a drag on our economy. One of the things that we pushed for, paired to when we were talking about the 2017 tax cuts, was to also reduce spending as part of that package. We know that when the government is more lean and more efficient, that is also a good thing for the economy, especially when paired with tax cuts. So it's disheartening to see the Congress cut taxes and then turn around and increase spending. I believe the latest CBO numbers show that tax revenue is up 3% over the last 10 months. Spending is up 8%. So this is really a spending problem at the end of the day, and Congress needs to get their act together and be honest with the American people about how much the current government we're getting is costing us.
Adam, are there places where you think it'd be wise for the government to cut its spending?
Across the board, I mean, I think it's less. It's even less about drastic cuts, but it's reducing the growth rate in spending. As I said, over the last 10 months, spending has grown 8% over last year. If we could simply reduce that growth rate to the level of inflation, that would go a long way towards getting us to a more fiscally sound footing. And that's not even in the realm of the conversation here. Instead, we're doing $300 billion budget deals. It's really a shame.
In addition to the payroll tax cut, it's been floated a capital gains tax cut that we could see, Adam. What's your opinion on that?
Cutting the capital gains rate would be a good thing for the economy, especially if we can get away from taxing inflationary gains, which right now the tax isn't indexed for inflation. But again, I think we should be doubling down on making the tax cuts we got permanent. We should be focusing on tariffs, which are the big problem here, rather than trying to find other policy patches for bad policy in other areas of the agenda.
All right, Adam, we got to leave it there. But thanks for joining us. That's Adam Michel, tax policy analyst over at the Heritage Foundation.